Hello and welcome. We are live this week from the Charlotte Motor Speedway for some ITSR Twisted B Car Series racing action, as always on Thursday nights live on MW Productions. Welcome to the show here tonight. My name is Evan Pasoko, and we're getting ready for race number 8 on this first segment of the ITSR Twisted B Car Series Thursday nights, and it is the I Love Livermush 125 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Before we move on to tonight's race, let's take a step back, go 1 week ago to Iowa Speedway, where we get the results from the Pumping Ethanol 125, the most recent race that we ran here with the ITSR guys. Bobby Terrell in victory lane at a number 14 machine after starting outside the top 10 in the 11th spot. Nathan Little able to come home into number 2 position after leading 18 laps. 27 laps were led by Scott Simley, started third, finished in that same spot, finishing third in his number 68, just in front of his teammate Brian Harvey in the 66, who started in the position number 6. Running out the top 5, Jay Horton able to walk away with the 5th place finish, leading just 3 laps. Douglas Wyatt, Hippie Doug, last car finishing on the lead lap after starting in 14th, comes home with the 6th place finish. John Wilco, first car 1 lap down, actually the only car 1 lap down, will come home in 7th. Matt Lacrosse going to finish in 8th, 2 laps down. Luis Rodriguez going to come home in 9th, 2 laps down. And rounding out the top 10, CJ LaFere had a good night going, led 32 laps, ends up 5 laps down after getting into some trouble late in the going, and rounds out your top 10. So still able to get a top 10 finish out of it, but not the result that he was looking forward to at all. And then that leads us to our championship standings, where it is still Stefan Marinak up at the top of the pile with 283 points, sitting on 1 win and 6 top 5s moving forward into tonight's race. The big story was, could he go 7 for 7, as he had finished 6 top 5s in all 6 starts, didn't even make the top 10 last week, so his worst nighting out, which allowed Matt Lacrosse to close it into 14 points in 2nd spot. Brian Harvey in 3rd, 23 points back. CJ LaFere 4th in the championship standings, slowly starting to inch in from what was a 40-point gap. He's still 31 points out with 2 races to go. Scott Simley sitting in the number 5 spot. He is 33 points back. John Wilco then almost a race and a half behind, 52 points back in the number 6 position. 7th belongs to Douglas Wyatt, sitting 70 points back. Frank Coons in the number 8 spot, 81 back. 9th in the championship standings, Stephen Herring, 91 back. And then rounding out the top 10 is Josh Cheney. No top 10s on the season, and only 2 winners, actually only 1 winner inside the top 10 in points, and that's Stefan Marinak, who sits at the top of the pile. So with 2 races to go this evening at Charlotte, and moving forward to Dover to close out the season, everybody else here in the championship standings is hoping that Marinak makes some sort of mistake that will open the window of opportunity for them to try to get something going. And that leads us forward to tonight's race. Once again, the I Love Livermush 125 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, race 8 of 9. We'll talk about some track facts real quick. The Charlotte Motor Speedway, NASCAR's backyard. Capacity crowd of 146,000 people playing host to this weekend's Coca-Cola 600 in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, located in Concord, North Carolina, owned and operated by Speedway Motorsports Incorporated. Broke ground in 1959, opened at next year in 1960 for a construction cost of $1.25 million. The track itself, a quad oval, something to keep in mind. Those dog legs on the front straightaway can get pretty close if you're going there through too wide. It's 1.5 miles around this joint, 4 turns, banked at 24 degrees in the corners, 5 on the straightaways. It's a very wide racetrack. It's very racy with these V-Class cars, and we're about 6 minutes away from getting going, so we're going to go down trackside for the opening ceremonies.
about a sharp-dressed man. Don't watch diamond ring. Well, I ain't missing on a single thing. Conflicts, stick pin. Ask if I don't know the do you in. They come around just as fast as they can.
Hey, look here, beavers. You better hide your wives, hide your husband, and look here, both of you hide your kids, cause we're coming.
Every girl's crazy about a sharp-dressed man. Top hat, and I don't worry 'cause my wallet's fat. Black shades, black gloves, looking sharp, looking for love. They come running just as fast as they can. Every girl's crazy about a sharp-dressed man. Make some noise! Clean shirt, new shoes, and I don't know where I'm going to. Silk suit, black tie, and I don't need a reason why. They come running just as fast as they can. Every girl's crazy about it.
The field is set as qualifying comes to a close and the field hits the grid, and let's run you through for starting order. One driver breaks the 30-second barrier. He's on the pole. It's going to be Bobby Terrell in the number 14 machine with a 29.993. Outside of row number 1, championship points leader Stefan Marinak in the 24 car. Take a look back at row number 2. Number 3 spot going to belong to John Higman Jr. in the number 60. Outside of row number 2 for starting position, the 37 of Ben Burnett. Scott Simley in the 68 machine going to be rolling off in position number 5. Alongside him, the Puerto Rican prowler of Jose Gonzalez in the number 26 car. Brian Harvey makes up the inside of row number 4 in his number 67, starting in position number 7, and alongside him, Luis Rodriguez in number 47, starting in position number 8. Row 5 inside spot number 9 going to belong to the 83 of Jay Horton, rounding out the top 10, LD Sarabia in the 11 car. Frank Coons in the 48 going to be starting in position 11, the last car to take a qualifying time. Matt Lacrosse going to be starting 12th in the 21 car outside on row number 6. Keith Brooks Jr. also within the time going to be starting in position number 15, or rather 13 in the number 15 machine alongside Dathan Little, and the 97 going to be starting in 14th. The 5 of Douglas Wyatt in P15, the 15th position going to belong to him. John Wilco in the 62, starting in 16th, and rounding out one of our smaller fields here this evening, Stephen Herring in the 98 Chevrolet going to be starting in position number 17, and that will make up your 17 car field for this evening's race at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Race length 125 laps in total around this 1.5 mile racetrack, about 188 miles till we go the distance to get to that checkered flag and crown our winner. Again, the second to last race is here this evening. We close it off next week at Dover to close off this first segment and crown a champion, and a lot can change here this evening, but all eyes up front as Stefan Marinak still with a relatively commanding 14-point lead. 17 drivers in the field. Do the math when you think of how many points are available here tonight. A lot of these guys need that 24 to have an off night like he did last week. The only time that he has not finished top 10 all season was last week. Broke his 6-race streak of being in the top 5. So a lot of these guys riding on a little bit of bad luck for the 2014. 24 is going to try to go out there and win it and make it a no decision going into Dover. We're about to find out as the pace car comes down to 4 and hits down to the pit lane. Bobby Terrell in control of the field. Going to wait about at 1, 2, 3 seconds. Going to wait all the way to the restart box. He is the control car. The green flag now flies as they enter and exit that first dogleg on the front straightaway. We're green flag racing. John Higman Jr. wants the second spot from Stefan Marinak. To the inside he goes, along with the 37 of Ben Burnett's going to trail along with him on the inside lane. Does the 37 look low on the 60? He rides that left rear, gives the 60 of John Higman Jr. a little bit of a push going down into turn number 3. Oh, he's going to spin him at the front of the field. John Higman Jr. gets dumped in a huge wreck. Multiple cars in the whole field is going to stack him up in turns 3 and 4 on the first lap. And immediately, Ben Burnett over the radio taking blame for the cause of the caution and what appeared to be over-aggressive driving on lap 1. The 37 rode the 60's back bumper into turn 3, went low, and if he was trying to dump him, he did a beautiful job. Got right on the left rear, turns the 60 up. The 24 of Baranek squeaks by, which could be a deciding moment in the championship picture. The 60 goes high, gets into the 68 machine, who gets collected as Scott Simley. 26 gets a piece of it as well. That's Jose Gonzalez. The 67 machine, Brian Harvey, with a great evasive maneuver to the bottom of the racetrack, able to squeak on by. And then everybody else back in the pack starts wrecking, trying to just avoid the incident. As the 47 goes into the wall, gets slow. 48 turns him up against the wall. That is the 48 of Frank Coons turning the 47 Luis Rodriguez. 21 tries to go down, gets nearly turned by the 15. 5 gets in it. A huge mess in turns 3 and 4. And again, Ben Burnett immediately taking responsibility for the incident. And we talked about the fact that it's 14 points between first and second at a championship standings. And you look at the amount of cars in this field, only 17. Not a lot to be made up or lost So a lot of these drivers would have to count on Marinak to have a poor evening. He squeaks by that incident as at least half the field gets collected in that with some description of damage. John Higman Jr., the car that got turned around by Ben Burnett there in turns 3 and 4 on the opening laps, is no longer on the racetrack, not officially registered as out of the race. He is not told the officials that he's not registered as out, but he is not on the racetrack right now, sitting in 17th. Luis Rodriguez on pit road in the number 16 spot for repairs. Frank Coons is in 15th. It appears that everybody for the time is on the lead lap, but there was a lot of cars on the pit lane for damage repair. And an interesting start to a 125 lap affair where you might think that with 17 cars, it's going to be a little bit of a cleaner race, more patient. Not really a longer race per se. Again, a good distance, 125 laps at 1.5. You can get the job done and you have time to do it. But it's not an extensive amount of time. It's like the Coke 600, so you kind of got to get going, especially if you're back there in the pack. These drivers know that these initial restarts and restarts after cautions are going to be their best opportunities to make up position. But Ben Burnett, after starting fourth, takes out the 60 of John Higman Jr. once they get to turn number 3. Accidental, as Ben Burnett immediately apologized for the incident. But nonetheless, ruined the night of a bunch of drivers, as still a whole handful of them continuously coming down pit road trying to get repairs, including Burnett himself, who has a little bit of front end damage from getting into the back of that number 60 machine. The field is doubled up, as you can see down to max rated, where the lights are off at a Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. So we will be getting ready for the restart here to come and take lap number 5 of 125. So still a long way to go. You want to start counting? That's 121 to go about. So still a long way. The front row, no changes. 14 of Bobby Terrell. Here comes Bobby, given that nickname for the fact that he kind of sneaks up the closer, per se. The Kevin Harvick of this kind of comes in at the end of it and tries to pull this thing away and sneaks in. Well, he just wants to lead the whole race this time. 14's up front after qualifying again. Only driver to beat that 30-second barrier. Let's see what he can do, as Stefan Marinak and a Rich Chevrolet going to be on the outside of row number 1. Very spread out as the field works off of turn 4. Bobby Terrell gonna go on it a little bit earlier. No, he slowly gets up to speed, picks up 3-4 miles an hour, tries to play games with the field, then he gets on the loud pedal. Green flag flies, it works. He clears Marinak by about 4 car lengths. Slow as a 67 of Brian Harvey, who had trouble on that restart. 83 gets around him, 97 gets around him, and he is now the first side-by-side battle, as the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, after starting 7th, is on the outside on the attack. The 26 also in the picture, Jose Gonzalez, as these guys now work in the 3 and 4. 21 clears him, and Matt Lacrosse going to get in front of the 67 machine of Harvey there to that time by. Another swap for position. 97 able to make the pass. Nathan Little going to get around Jay Horton. That last time by Jay Horton in the Hurricane Chevrolet, getting passed by the 97 machine of Nathan Little. Little with a nicely executed pass on the bottom, going into 3, able to complete that pass off of 4. Everybody singles out for the time being. Side by side, back in the pack as a car with a little bit of damage. John Wilco has to let the 98 machine of Stephen Herring around, but other than that, single file, but bumper to bumper traffic. At that, all these cars, the top 11 within 2 seconds of each other on the racetrack that last time by, and the leader's not too far away either. And 24 of Marinak sitting about a car length off the back bumper of race leader Bobby Terrell. Then it's a little gap to Nathan Little. Jay Horton 3 wide. 83 tries to go to the middle. 67 throws the nose in there. That's Brian Harvey. All this going on for position number 5. 67 sideways. Harvey able to hang on to it after getting sideways on the restart. And that's why he's back in this situation. Saves it, but now the 26 of Jose Gonzalez on the outside lane trying to make something work. Trying to make that pass on the 67. The 11 of LD Saravia just behind him. These cars trying to duke it out for position number 6. Jose had the advantage the last time by the stripe, but arguably the inside line is the way you want to go. 26 trying to pull that speed. He's going to get it done on the high side. Jose Gonzalez had that spot last time by, but this time clears that 67 and now has sole possession of that. And it's a 3-car tango, I guess you want to call it, almost bump drafting up the front of the pack as Marinak continues to trail Terrell. Now he looks higher off the corner, trying to get a little bit of a run. The 97 a little with the run, scrapes the wall, bounces off it, hangs on. As a lot of these guys shuffling for positions 1 through 3 within 0.2 of a second of each other. Trying to work the draft, 24 slow off the corner as Marinak had a little bit of a bobble, Nathan Little to the inside. And the 97 going to continue his charge forward after starting in 14th position. Nathan Little cracks second spot on lap number 10. It is 2 car lengths that separate these guys inside the top 3 right now after being a car length not too long ago. It's about consistency. You can say the most consistent off the corner. Side by side and nearly contact between Brian Harvey and LD Sarabia for the number 7 spot. It's the 67 of Harvey on the outside, Sarabia on the inside as we go through turns number 1 and 2. Pretty much door to door off the corner. 67 going to get the run down to backstretch. Harvey looking like he's going to clear the 11, and as we go into 3, he does. 11 tucks back in line, and LD Sarabia going to hold off on trying to complete that pass, try to regroup himself and get back up to that machine and try to go again. But we're side by side for the lead. Nathan Little with a rocket ship here in this race. Did not put down any time in practice, didn't put a time down in qualifying, started 14th, and on lap 12, he has gone to the number 1 position as he gets around the 14 of Bobby Terrell that time. As he got side by side down the front straightaway, made the pass in 1 and 2, and now the 14 finds himself in the 2nd position right now. Slow though, 97 and Nathan Little has a poor corner exit, gets sideways, has to check up. And the 14 of Terrell goes right on by him once again as he completes that pass at 97 and Nathan Little, who was part of this 3-car battle up front, has kind of slid back into the clutches of the 21 of Lacrosse. So 2 cars battling for first, 2 cars battling for third, and the guys up front are side by side once again. The 24 of Marinak to the inside now and around the 14 of Bobby Terrell. Both those guys slow, though. A huge run by Nathan Little in the 97, who led 2 laps ago. Right to the bumper, the 14 to the left rear quarter panel has to check up, had nowhere to go. And now those 2 groups of 2 have quickly transformed into one big 4-car group. 24 of Marinak, number 1 spot, runs up against the wall of the 14 of Terrell. To the inside, going into turn number 3. Tries to pull even with them. Door to door now at the middle of 3 and 4, and coming off the advantages of the 14 of Terrell. By a nose, 24 is going to get the run on the high side. A photo finish if that was the end of it. But the lead was Stefan Marinak by 5/1000ths of a second on the outside lane. The guys behind him have gone side by side. 21 Lacrosse width to the outside of the 97 of Nathan Little. Those guys battling for third, but more up in the mix here now for the number 1 spot as our race leader still side by side. Terrell with the advantage more than he did last time. He's going to pull clear of the 24 of Marinak. Marinak slides by the high side. 14 of Bobby Terrell going to have sole possession of the number 1 spot. 97 and 8th and Little going to go side by side for position number 2. He's on the inside of the number 24 of Stefan Marinak, trying to clear him. He's at the nose. Can he slide up in front of that 24 off the corner? He does. Able to protect that spot. No retaliation for the 24. Didn't have a run to make a crossover. And he's going to now be forced to stay in the 3rd spot as the 97 of 8th and Little continues to strut his stuff and show these guys that he's a force to be reckoned with here in this evening's race, as he's already closing in on the back bumper of Bobby Terrell up at the front of the field. They're going to have to work a little bit of lap traffic here. The 5 of Douglas Wyatt currently sitting 2 laps down after getting collected at an incident. His race fueled Ford Mustang going to stick to the high side here. Down to back straightaway leaders go low as they draft up behind him, dive to the bottom. Into 3, the 5 yields high and allows race leaders to go on by on the inside lane. 97 again in second with a big run, a little bit of a bump by the 14, this time by the stripe. The 97, he's got a big run closing in to the bumper. Does he look to the inside? He sticks the nose in there. He does. A beautiful move to go side by side by Nathan Little. They're door to door now in turns 1 and 2. The 24 of Marinak just behind the side by side battle for the number 1 spot. The 14 of Terrell clears him though down to backstretch and into 3 with that big run as he comes off of turn number 2. 97 and 8th and Little drops back a little bit, has to regroup, but his car looks so strong on corner exit, especially in turn number 4. Comes flying off and cuts that gap from about 2.5 to about 1.5, 1 car lengths now as we go into the corner. 97 looks faster. Every time he drops back, he gets sucked right back up to the back bumper. The draft playing a little bit of a part of that in these nationwide race cars, but 97 has a rocket ship here this evening. He's about half a car length off the 14 of Terrell through 3 and 4. Right here off of 4 is where the 97 is so strong. He has a run, looks high, 14 blocks, look low, 14 blocks. Bobby Terrell putting on the block for the number 1 spot, trying to slow the 97's progress down. And doing so with incredible accuracy. However, the 97, if he's continuously this much faster, he's going to get it done. 14 rides the wall now down the back straightaway. 97 gets there, doesn't look to the inside, however, as he ran about half a car length down on the racetrack, trying to get a little bit of a side draft there and get a little bit of a slingshot around the 14. The gap increases to 2 car lengths, but once again, as they go by the stripe, it gets closed into half, as the 97 at 8th and Little just so strong on that front straightaway section, especially where you come off of turn number 4. Very, very strong race car. His Chevrolet is putting the pressure on the number 14 muscle melt machine of Bobby Terrell, to say the least. As the top 3 continue to be within 0.3 of a second. Matt Lacrosse was in this battle. He's a little bit further back, and now the 97 is slow, as Nathan Little has a little bit of a bobble out of 4, has to check up, drops about 0.2 back from Terrell, opens the door for the 24 of Marinac in the Ritz machine to the inside, but the 97 now tries to pull back strong at the exit of turn number 2. He gets it done, so Marinac, it capitalizes on the 97's mishap in turn 4, but then once he gets there, the 97 just pulls right back around him on the high side. Such a strong machine by Nathan Little, just trying to search for a little bit of consistency, and he'll be around that 14 machine in no time, but Bobby Terrell's not playing easy. He has put it on those blocks for the number 1 spot, and now the top 3 have spread out a little bit, about 2-3 car lengths separate them all, but that's not going to be for long. That draft will play into effect a little bit down these long straightaways, these high-speed straightaways. Again, these are the B-class cars, and you're nearly at, 187 miles an hour into the corner. So Charlotte, a very, very fast racetrack. And it's showing due dividends here as the 24 of Marinac tries to close back in on Nathan Little for position number 2. Nathan Little sitting about 4 or 5 car lengths off of Bobby Terrell, trying to pick that back up. 97 rides the white line as the 14 of Terrell, race leader, is about a lane up. Coming at a turn number 2, the 97 closes it in to about 3 car lengths to 2.5. Another great run by the 97. Very, very fast once again on those exit sections of the corner. Really good from middle of the corner off, which is where maybe the 14 is missing something, and now he is there, Nathan Little. Once again going to put up challenge for the number 1 spot. It's half a car length as the 97 this time rides half a car length up on a racetrack compared to the 14. 14 swings wide, so does the 97. Try to get that big run off of turn number 2. It's 1.5 car lengths now going into turn number 3 between the top 2 drivers. Marinac still in the picture, but about 0.3 back, but close enough to capitalize if there were a mistake. The top 2 continue to be in a deadlock, and both those guys through the grass that time, getting the left side tires down there, and luckily did not spin out. The 97 and Nathan Little went through there because he was tracing the line of the 14 of Terrell. Terrell just nicked it. 97 nearly got half his tire in there in that first kink down the dogleg in the front straightaway, the quad oval. Again, it's not a big progressive sweeping turn. There's very 2 distinct, maybe 30-degree dog legs and corners in that front straightaway, and you saw it there, but they just get cut off by that edging there with the grass. This time by they both yield a lot higher, and it is about 3 car lengths separating the top 2. 12 cars remain on the lead lap at this point. John Wilco, last car on the lead lap, and Frank Coons has actually lost that spot to him, so when scoring updates, Frank Coons will be the last car on the lead lap. Both those guys about half a lap behind your race leader, Bobby Terrell, who works into turns number 3 and 4. This time by coming off of turn number 4, the 14 of Terrell continues to lead your pole sitter, still in the number 1 spot as he takes lap number 28 for the matter of fact. We're going to step away, take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more hard racing up front. You're watching the ITSR Twisted B Car Series Thursday nights from Charlotte on MW Productions. More racing coming up after the break. Back live here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, Bobby Terrell continues to lead up at a number 1 position. Nathan Little has been dropping significantly in these last few laps. He now finds himself 1.2 seconds back after it looked like he had the dominant car and was just waiting for the right time to take the number 1 spot. We got 3 cars bumper to bumper for positions 3rd, 4th, and 5th, led by the 21 machine of Matt Lacrosse, who just that time around in 1 and 2, as we see him come out of 4, was able to get around the 24 of Stefan Marinak and trying to maybe his car coming to life here as Lacrosse also started in the number 12 position, but again, they were able to avoid that incident. So a lot of good guys that started inside the top 10 were taken out in this race. Only 11 guys on the lead lap, so this race could easily have a green flag atmosphere to it. Big, you got a slow car on the high side lap machine. 62 of John Wilco stays high, but unfortunately for the 97 and Nathan Little, he was side by side with the 21 of Matt Lacrosse, and Matt Lacrosse was able to get the spot as the 97 had to check up for that lap car. 24 now trying to follow the 97 by on the inside lane. The 21 of Matt Lacrosse on the outside trying to hold these guys off way up there out of the groove. 97 slow in front of him. 21 nowhere to go, to the inside, to the middle. No, can't find a spot as he barely gets held off there at a turn number 2, and now we're 2 wide, 2 rows deep. 1 row for 3rd and 1 row battling for the number 5 spot. First row, the 24 on the inside, battling with the 97, and then behind them, 26 on the inside with the 21 of Matt Lacrosse on the outside. Lacrosse goes from 3rd to 5th that last time by, as he's been shuffled up to the high side around maybe a slower 97 car. 97 was wicked fast, but he was fastest on corner exit. He has no run there. They're going to pull a crossover as the 21 goes to the inside of the 97 that time at a turn number 2 as they entered the opposite way. 21 going to clear the 97 at Nathan Little. So Nathan Little, who looked so strong, so stellar on corner exit, which was his big advantage over Bobby Terrell, is just terrible right now on corner exit. His car starting to slip out of his grasp as we approach lap number 40. Terrell has checked out to over 3 seconds on all of these guys as this battle has single-filed. Jose Gonzalez able to hang on to the number 2 spot in front of this big battle of cars. 24 of Marinak just loses it to Matt Lacrosse. Matt Lacrosse up to 3rd, able to sort his way and find a way through that 4-car battle to get to the number 1 spot in this group, the number 3 spot, but he catches the wall at a turn 4. Marinak in the wall, the 97 going to go around him as well. So Matt Lacrosse now in 3rd. Nathan Little just now getting around Stefan Marinak at a turn number 4. The 97 goes to 4th, and Marinak drops to 5th, but Marinak has much more speed than that 97. 97 kind of squeezed him down there, coming off of turn number 2, but the 97 able to protect the position. It works. Nathan Little will hang on for the time being to the number 4 position. 24 with a big wiggle at a turn number 4. He's got to get way out of the gas and recover that one, as Marinak, again, battling handling conditions, but is able to hang on as 8 drivers remain on the lead lap right now. Your lucky dog would be the 15 of Keith Brooks Jr. And actually the scoring updates, it's going to be John Wilco as he gets around him, but Wilco in the wall. A lot of guys with beat-up race cars. Bobby Terrell looked like he was hanging on to the number 1 spot for dear life. He was throwing blocks high, low at a 97 at 8th a little before commercial break, and next thing you know, he's got a 3-second lead. It nearly just got cut in what, like a fifth, a quarter, because Jose Gonzalez chops that down from 3 seconds to 2.3 in the last 3 laps as Jose trying to make a charge from the number 2 spot. And you got to love races like this where you get comers and goers. You got guys that are fast at the beginning of the run, but they overwork their equipment. They really drop out of this thing when it gets down. Again, Nathan Little on pit road right now for his green flag pit stop at a 97. So is LD Sarabia as green flag pit stops starting to get into full action here as both those guys come down for fresh tires and fuel. That's going to be a strategy call. You got to think pitting on lap 43. This race is 120 laps long, so if you can go another 43 laps, you'll be good to go to the end of this race. No green white checkers to account for, so most of these drivers going to be... Oh, race leader Bobby Terrell nearly spins it at a turn number 4. He's got to get way out of the gas as that thing was about 15 degrees sideways. And I'm sure Jose behind him could read all the sponsors on the side of his car. He loses 8 tenths. Gets that gap cut down to 1.4 seconds. So again, these drivers most likely on a one more stop strategy, figuring if they can make it to the 85 lap range, it's going to be about 40 laps. They made it more than that on the start of the race, so should be good to go. But if we get a caution, they may be a little bit earlier, force them to go into a two-stop strategy. It all depends on how this race works out. As the 83 of Jay Horton going to go around Stefan Marinak for the number 4 position. So both Marinak and that 97 at Nathan Little began to drastically drop in position after looking very strong at the start of it. And now it's the 14 of Terrell who appeared to come to life. Maybe it was everybody that dropped back because he is getting run down by the 26. And another time he almost snaps loose there at a turn 4 is the 14 of Terrell. He only has a car length. Here is Jose Gonzalez to the back bumper of the Muscle Milk 14 of Bobby Terrell. In 1 and 2, 26 gets off the gas earlier, drops back to 3 car lengths, and with a huge run out of 2 to the bumper, has to check up as the 14 was a little bit sideways, kind of in between the middle and high groove there, coming off the corner. And 26, Jose Gonzalez, who is applying the pressure for the number 1 spot, is 2 car lengths back now. He gets the run again, but he can't find a way around him. And now the 26 of Jose Gonzalez does go to the inside. We're going to be side by side for P1. 26 keeps the nose right there at the quarter panel as they go into the corner. 14 sideways, trying to hang on. Bobby Terrell's race car is going everywhere but straight. And now Jose Gonzalez is going to move into the number 1 position as 6 cars sit on the lead lap right now, as again a couple guys took their green flag pit stops and nobody else right now in the top 6 obviously going to come down yet, because when they would do so, going to lose a lap. Nathan Little going around the 90 to Stephen Harry. Nathan Little, the current Lucky Dog point position right now. The 97 sits 7th. He's the first car 1 lap down. And again, he was very strong at the top of this race and just really started to fall off and decided to come down pit road a little bit earlier than the rest of these guys. As we approach lap 50, this race going by rather quickly here, as there's a very green flag atmosphere. Again, with only 17 cars, you can imagine a lot of green flag racing, and when you eliminate nearly half of them competitively wise after a big wreck in the opening lap, going to be really come down to the strategy. Jay Horton going to pit from position number 4, and along with Stefan Marinak behind him. So positions 4th and 5th of Jay Horton and Stefan Marinak. Those guys going to come down pit road to make their green flag pit stops here on lap number 49. 14 of Terrell nearly wrecks again. And I think he's just going to bring it down pit road this time, and it looks like he speeds down pit road. That could be trouble for Bobby Terrell, as trying to get down to that 45 mile an hour speed limit, came down pit road at 58, where that timing starts. So we're going to have to see if Bobby Terrell will receive a penalty for that, as Jay Horton and Stefan Marinak can exit pit road, and Marinak actually passes Horton, getting up the speed better, gets through the gears better, and doesn't spin the tires, which appeared to happen to Jay Horton. So Jay Horton going to lose a spot to the 24 of Marinak as they leave pit road. But now Marinak with a bobble at a turn 2. These guys have a little bit of trouble getting up the speed. 83 closes the gap, but Marinak going to jump skip a spot and get in front of Jay Horton. Now Matt Lacrosse down pit road from the number 2 spot. Stephen Herring down pit road from the number 3 spot. As Bobby Terrell sits and serves his penalty, he leaves pit road just now as he exits at the same time as the 62 of John Wilco does. Wilco came in for a 4-tire stop and some repairs. He sits a handful of laps down right now. Jose Gonzalez still needs to make his pit stop. He stayed out there. He's leading the race as Lacrosse and Herring exit pit road. Jose Gonzalez, don't think he's going to put a lap on him. We're going to have to wait till scoring updates. He may have already done so as he rides behind the 46, rather the 62 of John Wilco, the lap machine that's going to yield high for Jose Gonzalez, your race leader. And Jose is now the only car on the lead lap. It's the 26 machine. It's probably also the slowest on the track, as he has to get out of the way for the 67 of Brian Harvey, who's running about a second faster than him a lap because just leaving pit road on those fresh tires. Jose sitting here and maybe thinking of the strategy. If he stays out, a caution's not going to bind him. If the caution comes out now, Nathan Little in the lucky dog position, everybody else would have to get waved around, which would give Jose fresh tires, and he'd blow the field out of the water. So he's just trying to stay out here as long as he can, and when he comes down pit road, everybody's not really going to gain back a lap. Jose's going to be sitting there for a lap, and everybody will return to the same lap. Everybody that's one lap down, which is about positions first through position number 9, as Brian Harvey, the last car, one lap down in the number 9 spot in his number 67 machine. Again, 125 lap affair, about 9 or so laps away from the halfway point. In this thing, you're watching the ITSR Twisted B Car Series live as always Thursday nights on MW Productions. Jose Gonzalez, your leader, after Bobby Terrell dominated the opening portions of this race. And right now, we can't quite call green flag pit stops over because everybody's got the job done but one, and that is race leader Jose Gonzalez. But again, running about 1.5 seconds slower every lap than the guys behind him. Second, Nathan Little is about to run Jose down. Jose's at the start-finish line, and Nathan Little got off turn 4 about a second ago. Yeah, that's the time comparison for you guys between those guys. If Nathan Little can get to Jose Gonzalez, he'll drive his way around him and get his lap back the old way by passing the leader, and he'll go to the tail end of the lead lap, which would be position number 2, which is where he sits right now, as Jose, the only person on the lead lap. This could be a big problem for the 26 of Jose Gonzalez, unless he's counting on caution of some sort, because the longer he stays out here running nearly 32-second lap times, everybody else running 30.3s. When Jose leaves pit road, sure, he's going to be a lot faster, but not by this much of a margin. He may be a tenth or so quicker than these guys for a little bit, but I don't know if he's going to be able to leave in the number 1 spot. He really didn't have a commanding lead when he decided that, or rather when everybody else started to come down pit road, and he made the decision to stay out. But obviously, making this on one more stop not going to be a problem, as Jose Gonzalez works 57 nearly at the halfway point. Maybe he's trying to drag this thing out for a one-stop strategy. 125 laps on the board. You got to think lap 63 is the halfway point. Everybody else came down around lap 45, 49 or so. You got to think that they're going to have to make 2 more pit stops. One more pit stop, which would equivalent to 2. Jose, maybe if he's trying to stretch his 5 more laps, get to the halfway point, trying to stretch it, save fuel, and make it on one stop only, which would mean that he saves about a whole lap from not having to come down pit road than these other guys will. Interesting call by Jose Gonzalez. Nathan Little has driven around him, so Nathan Little back on the lead lap. Jose's going to have to pit. But you got to think, if that is what Jose's aiming for, he's got to make it about 4 more laps, and he'll be good to the halfway point. But he's counting on this to go green, because he's going to drop back out of first place for sure in this strategy. But when everybody else has to come down to make 1 more stop, he won't. He's going to stay out there on the racetrack. Then everybody else is going to come back out on fresh tires. That's when it gets interesting coming out at the end. Again, this all assuming that this race goes green and does not have any cautions, as that could really throw a big twist into things here for sure. But 26 of Jose Gonzalez appears to be trying to make this on one stop. He's on lap 60 right now. Does not have a lot longer to go before we reach the halfway point. 125 laps. Once he's halfway around lap 62, he's at the halfway point, which means that a one-stop strategy, in theory, could work for him. Jose this time by takes 61. Not down pit road yet. So it looks like that this is going to be the way it is going to go. But again, Nathan Little running Jose Gonzalez last time by a 32.6. Really trying to stretch that fuel. Nathan Little, a 30.3. So clearly Jose Gonzalez trying to save. But the 11 at LD Sarabia now drives around the 26 and manually gets his lap back. So 3 cars on the lead lap. And if Jose were to pit right now, you've got to assume he would lose the number 1 spot. So the gap between first and second, which is second and third on the racetrack right now, Nathan Little and LD Sarabia, is about 8 seconds. And now here comes 4th place car, Matt Lacrosse, around race leader Jose Gonzalez to get his lap back. Not sure how this strategy call is going to work out for Jose Gonzalez, but he's definitely trying to go for this one-stop strategy as opposed to 2 stops, which everybody else has already done. 24 goes around. Marinac manually races his way back onto the lead lap. Jose Gonzalez, again, running high 32-second lap times. Guys that are passing him, 30.2s. 30.1s for some of them, 30.3s. Jose Gonzalez well off pace. He's at the halfway point though now. Lap 63 this time, and he has announced that he is going to come down pit road. So right at halfway point, Jose Gonzalez is going to hopefully make what he wants to be his final pit stop of the evening, and he is going to go for a one-stop strategy. He gets down to pit road, slows down a little bit too much, but not really in a close race for the number one spot, because he will lose the number one spot, as he has not even entered his pit stall. The 97 at 8th, the Little, who sits second, is already coming and rounding at a turn number 4. And Jose Gonzalez is going to drop well behind the race lead. Nathan Little that time by 5 seconds back, but Jose now, as he just enters his pit stall at the moment and puts on 4 fresh tires, Nathan Little is already checking out of turn number 2 and down the back straightaway in front of that giant screen on the back straightaway here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Gonna have to see when Jose gets off the corner. And it looks like as Nathan Little rounds 3 and 4, Jose is going to get back up to speed. So not going to lose a lap, but nearly does. So an interesting call by the 26 of Gonzalez. We thought so correctly. It appears that he is going to try to pit right at that halfway point, like I said, and try to make it on one stop, as opposed to everybody else who you may see coming down pit road here for the final time at about 20-25 laps or so, which would make it equidistant, about 40-45 laps between their first stop and their second stop, which would be your optimum 2-stop strategy in this race. Jose Gonzalez again waiting for scoring to update as he comes by the start-finish line at this time by 8th position. From 1st to 8th is Jose Gonzalez. Closest car to him, Stephen Herring in the back, and that does make Nathan Little your race leader up at the front with the 97 machine. He has a 9.3 second lead over Matt Lacrosse. Green flag pit stops come to a close, and race leader Jose Gonzalez on a completely different strategy. Everybody else going to go for 2 stops. Jose has made his one, and hopefully only here this evening. He's dropped back to 8th. Will it work? We have passed the halfway point. We're on the downhill side of things. We're going to step away, take a quick commercial break. Second half of the action here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Coming up, you're watching the ITSR Twisted B Car Series live on MW Productions. Stay tuned. We'll have more green flag racing coming right up.
In a world where survival is the only rule and feelings have no place, where winning is everything and weakness is fatal, how much difference can one person make? That depends on the person. In every life, there is a line that cannot be crossed without leaving everything behind, except faith. Once that step is taken, there is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny. There is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny.
And we're back live here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway as a green flag race continues, and varying strategies for that matter playing into effect here. It's the ITSR Twisted P-Car Series Thursday nights, as always, on MW Productions. Evan Pasoko up in the booth with you guys here this evening. Nathan Little had an I-87 machine who looked like a strong charger in the opening stages, trying to chase down Bobby Terrell, who started on pole and led the opening portions of this race. Dropped back quickly once he got about 30 laps into a run, which is just about right now since his last pit stop, and he came down pitted and is now in the number one spot after everybody on a two-stop strategy. About 125 laps, going to want to pit about every 40-45 laps or so to make it on two stops. Jose Gonzalez, completely different ballpark, guys. He's going for a one-stop strategy. He made that stop. He pitted exactly at the halfway point. Would then, in theory, stay out for the rest of this race, as we expect green flag pit stops to cycle through here in just around 10 laps or so. Don't really know if these guys want to burn a little bit more fuel off and take a little bit less on when they come down pit road, what kind of tire strategy they're going to call, knowing that Jose Gonzalez is going to be staying out there. So he'll have about a lap advantage on them in theory, but then again, he's not going to have any fresh tires. So you're going to have to see how it is going to work out. Nathan Little, who had a 9.3 second gap before he went to the commercial break, has since been cut to 8 seconds between him and Matt Lacrosse. Matt Lacrosse running in position number 2, 7.8 seconds back. So Nathan Little slowly starting to slip right around that time that he started to slip the first time around. About 30 laps into the green flag run off the start of the race, started to slide back from race leader Bobby Terrell after applying the pressure for a good portion of it. Went to the lead, and now same about 35 laps after getting fresh tires. The 97 slipping, loses 2 more tenths that time by. However, at that rate, not even close. Matt Lacrosse, if these guys have to pit here soon, as he's still 7.6 seconds back. This time, Bob, we're going to get another estimate again. Nathan Little running 30.4 lap times that time, another 30.4, a high 30.4, and 30.2 for Matt Lacrosse. This time, 30.3, not as fast as he was looking for, but does shave about another tenth off. 7.4 seconds is the gap between positions number 1 and 2. Stephen Herring, the last driver on the lead lap, 29.4 seconds back, or about 1 second in front of race leader Nathan Little, and just in front of him is Jose Gonzalez, the guy who's trying to make this on one stop, pitted well after these guys, about 20 laps, so you think he should be blowing them out of the water, not by a lot, but you know, a couple tenths each lap until the tires really even out. But 26 has only lost ground since exiting pit road. So he's trying to stay on the lead lap before the rest of the field comes in for green flag pit stops the final time around, but obviously him already completing what he hopes to be his one and only pit stop right there at the halfway point. Again, this all assuming that this race stays green, and I'm sure these drivers enjoying a race that nearly goes all green. However, a contributing factor to that is the fact that nearly half these cars got taken out of this race in lap 1, turn 3, after a big pileup that was initiated by Ben Burnett making contact with John Higman Jr., turned in front of the field and collected nearly 8 or so cars involved in it. In total, a couple of them damaged beyond repairs to the point where they'd be competitive. And that's what leads to not only the green flag racing because of the minimalized amount of cars, and obviously would have been so the same way if we started with 17 and a little bit of a smaller field. But nonetheless, that really attributes to the fact that there's nobody really close. We have seen a lot of drivers trying to hang on to it in turn 4. We saw that with Real Sim Racing if you tuned in here Monday night on MW Productions. However, those were the Gen 6 cars, but turn 4 was very difficult, very loose, and even in these Impala B-class cars, the Fords as well, the nationwide style cars, if you want to call them. Also having a little bit of trouble on corner exit, especially turn number 4. We'll have to see as we are approaching about that range. Race leader Nathan Little sitting lap 84, nearly 40 laps after his first pit stop, going into the stall, taking on the 4 fresh tires and fuel. Matt Lacrosse continuing to close at a number 2 spot. He is 6.2 seconds back. Jay Horton in third is 8.2 seconds back. He's got company. Aranak in a 24 trying to make the pass for position number 3 on the 83 Hurricanes Chevrolet of Jay Horton. 24 Ritz Cracker Chevrolet is on the attack. That's Stefan Marinak. Marinak started this race in second, was 6th fastest in practice, so maybe found a little bit of speed with the qualifying setup. He's trying to chase down the 83 of Jay Horton and maybe be able to come down pit road in front of him, which could be beneficial to him coming down to the end of this race. That one spot, if you pick it up right before the cycle of pit stops, could really help you out, especially because this would be the final stop of the night. It is 4 tenths. This time by scoring going to update 3 tenths. The gap between third and fourth. The gap between first and second, another half of a second is gone. Nathan Little, 5.5 seconds back. Is Matt Lacrosse behind him? The quick car, being of Matt Lacrosse, slowly inching forward. Nathan Little, again, so impressive in this race. It was lap number 10 that he entered the top spot after starting 14th position. And again, was a little bit behind the main bulk of that wreck, so was able to squeak on by it, so that attributed to it as well, but he was fast. Matt Lacrosse also second, started 12th. Jay Horton, who was in third, started in 9th. So 2 out of the guys inside the top 3 started outside of the top 10. In this race, first car 1 lap down is Ben Burnett. 67 to Brian Harvey, going to pass LJ Sarabia for spot number 9. Those 2 cars, the only 2 cars 2 laps down. The lap cars, but battling each other for position, and Ben Burnett going to be, or rather Brian Harvey going to be the big winner of that. Ben Burnett would be the winner of it if it comes down to a lucky dog situation, a caution, because he's the only driver 1 lap down, so if everybody else stayed out to get a wave around, he'd get the lucky dog, and they'd be able to get back up on the lead lap. Everybody else would still be at least 1 lap down. Again, Ben Burnett had to come down pit road to repair the front and rear end of his race car after getting knocked around after starting that opening wreck with the 60 of John Higman Jr. After they made contact, Nathan Little is down pit road, race leader. In left sides on the car. Going up now as the crew's already put right sides on, packing that sucker full of fuel. And he's off. Jose Gonzalez is now sailing out of turn 2 as the 97 leaves pit road. That's the gap that Nathan Little will have to make up, assuming he is going to retain the number 1 position after this all cycle throughs. Matt Lacrosse announcing that he's going to come down pit road this time by. So does Jay Horton, the number 2 car in the number 2 position, rather, the 83 of Jay Horton. Let's see, Matt Lacrosse is going to slow up at a turn 4. Tries to push the speed. Perfect entry. Well done, Matt Lacrosse. A beautiful entry to pit road. Jay Horton does so as well. Spectacular. Makes up ground on Lacrosse on the pit road entry. Aranak down as well. Terrell down as well. So nearly all the drivers on the lead lap have pitted. Stephen Herring yet to come down, as again the top 4 all came down in one big group after race leader announced that he was going to come down. That was Matt Lacrosse. That's typically how it happens. You see a couple guys go here and there, and then once the leader comes in, a big group of cars come down in, and it just so happened to be first through 4th coming down pit road. Bobby Terrell, once again a little bit behind this group of cars, but nonetheless leaves his pit stall. And about this next time around, the scoring's going to update, and we'll get a better picture on really where everybody stands Jose Gonzalez is running behind Stephen Herring. Herring currently out there, the leader on the racetrack. However, Herring is not on the same strategy as Jose. He pitted on lap 51, so he can go a little bit longer than the other guys who pitted maybe 5 laps before him, but he can't make it to the end. So you have to assume that Jose Gonzalez is your race leader. 15 seconds is the gap between him and Nathan Little. Nathan Little has made 2 stops tonight. Jose has made 1. He got himself this 15-second gap, but he's going to be significantly slower unless these guys continue to battle for second. 24 to the bottom, clears a 97 with a crossover. Oh, he nearly gets into the left rear of Stefan Marinak as Marinak kind of came off the wall there a little bit, trying to gain control of his machine. 97 had to dive low to get out of the way, and now a big wiggle off the corner as the 97 at Nathan Little trying to hang on to position number 2. He's 4 car lengths off, and they've cut the gap by 0.2. 15.6. Will it work for Jose Gonzalez as he continues to trail race leader Stephen Herring, who still needs to make a stop before he can get to the end of this race? So for all intended purposes, you have to consider Jose Gonzalez the race leader in this situation. He's in second right now. And again, amazing to see this play out. On paper, it sounds great. Figure everybody else comes in. There's 125 laps, folks, in this race, and for all intents and purposes, to make it easier to picture this, we'll just call it 120. We figured the first group of cars came in at 40, next group, then they come in again at 80. They split this race into thirds, which gives them 2 stops. Jose cut it in half, pitted at 63, which is about the halfway point in 125 laps, which means he has to make 1 less stop, which gives him about a whole extra lap. But he doesn't get 4 fresh tires. He runs significantly slower than those guys that just pitted. You're seeing it right now. Jose Gonzalez in second is 14.7 seconds ahead of Stefan Marinak in third. That's about a second less than it was 4 laps ago, and he has to survive about 28 more laps. So this thing, if it goes green, is going to come right down to the end of it, as Jose again continuing to trail Stephen Herring. Herring, who sits in the number 1 spot, last pitted once again on lap 51, still needs to make 1 more trip down the pit lane before he has enough fuel to go the distance of 188 miles here this evening in 125 laps. Coming up on ITSR Racing Thursday night to get after this evening's I Love Livermuch 125, we have the God Crabs 140 at Dover International Raceway tomorrow, or rather next week, not tomorrow night. Next week, when we close off this segment of 9 races, as Stephen Herring has now lost the number 1 spot because he's got to bring it down pit road. And now we wait and watch to see how it will all cycle through as Jose Gonzalez officially to the number 1 spot. And it's only 13.6 seconds back to Stefan Marinak, who has actually just been passed by Nathan Little. This could help Jose if these guys continue to battle for second. Looks like the 24, after making a pass on Little, Little got that spot back the last time. Pine maybe wants to work with him a little bit, kind of pushed him through that front straightaway section. He's not looking to the inside of it. Now he does, to the bottom, side by side, going into 3 for the number 2 spot. 24, Stefan Marinak to the inside, gets half a car length, but slows up, center off. 97 with a huge run at a 4, gonna be able to hang on to the number 4 spot and gets him cleared by about 2 car lengths as he sails it off into turn number 1. And even if they battle side by side, Little still picks up 2/10 on Jose Gonzalez. Man, this is going to be close. This time by the stripe, 25 laps to go as Jose Gonzalez takes lap 101. 25 to go to the distance. They're picking up 2/10 a lap. They're going to need more than that if they want to catch him. And this Hail Mary strategy by Jose Gonzalez may work. And wow, 7/10 just got knocked off the board by Nathan Little. A 31 flat for Jose, a 33 by Nathan Little. And now 7/10 gets sliced off the board just like that. And it's 12.3 to second and 12.4 to third. As Nathan Little, the lead car in this charge to the front, in second spot behind him, Stefan Marinak. Both these guys have led laps tonight, and it's 11.8. Another 5/10 off the board. It appears like these guys may be able to get to Jose, but by the time they do, their tires may be faded. And we talked about Nathan Little. He had a 10-second lead also over Matt Lacrosse in the number one spot, and lost about 5 seconds after he put 35 laps on his tires. Same thing happened 35 laps into the start of the race. Was battling with Terrell, dropped off. It's going to be about 35 laps after his pit stop. If he keeps up this pace, it'll get to within striking distance of Jose. That may be too late. Again, Jose running very consistent 30.9s or 31 flats, 31.0s. He can maintain that, he may be good. Nathan Little, however, running 30.3s. Jose's entering 3 as Nathan Little and Marinak are side by side in turns 1 and 2, nearly spinning the 97 as a 24. Marinak in the middle of the corner, pushed up a little bit, and 97 had to move up the racetrack a little bit, but once again retains his spot, sticks on the high side as the 24 continuing to try to make the bottom work. It's 10.6 seconds. Scoring's going to update as the 97, 24 across the stripe. 10.1. They are chipping away at that lead, but 10 seconds in 20 laps is a tall order. They need half a second a lap. Last time by, they only got 4/10. As Jose cranked out a 38. Oh, spinner! Out of turn number 4, through the grass. 62, John Wilco. Do we see a caution? Caution flies! And Jose Gonzalez just sees the win slip away. Don Wilco with a self-spin in front of race leader 26 of Jose Gonzalez through the grass, not onto the racing surface. And we've seen cars go into the wall on the front stretch, but the sim throws the yellow, and Jose Gonzalez, half a second slower, will not stand a chance unless we see everybody come down for 4 fresh tires. So all the strategy that we talked about over this magnificent 100-lap green flag run at the Charlotte Motor Speedway gets tossed out the window. Jose might as well have taken 2 stops because they're going to be right behind him on this next restart, which will be within the range of about 16, 15 laps to go. And after what would have worked out to what was appearing to be maybe 2 seconds for Jose if it came down to it the way it was going, advantage to him for the win is thrown out the window. And now, does Jose pit? Everybody else stays out. Does Jose stay out? Everybody else pits. Going to have to find out. There's a pretty big gap because some lap cars separate our leaders. Jose obviously has to come down. Nathan Little comes down. Marinak wasn't going to. He comes out. Oh, spinner! The 11 gets LD Sarabia, a lap car on pit road, slows down to 20 below the pit road speed limit, tries to pull out of pit road, and the 97 nails him. And now Nathan Little, the second fastest car on the track, has major front end damage. He's going to finish his 4-tire stop. Does he have to stay? He's not going to stay for any repairs. It's a 2-tire strategy for Matt Lacrosse, and this is now a race. We're going to step away and take our final commercial break, and when we return, we will take you to the checkered flag, and we'll call it a 15-lap race. It's a whole new affair. Here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, you're watching the ITSR Twisted B Car Series Thursday nights as live, always on MW Productions. We're going to race her out to the checkered after this. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. And welcome back live to the Charlotte Motor Speedway as a new race has been born in this final stretch to the checkered flag at the ITSR Twisted B Car Series live as always on Thursday nights on MW Productions. Episode 1 broadcast booth here with you guys. Matt Lacrosse on a two-tire strategy is going to go to the number one spot. Jose Gonzalez, who has only made one stop prior to that one, trying to make it on one less stop than everybody else was going to do so, and looked like he may have pulled it out. A late race caution just laps ago puts him now back in the fray, and we're all on equal ground. It's two tires for race leader Matt Lacrosse and 4 fresh Goodyears for everybody else on the lead lap, which is now 9 cars after being only 1 at one point. And now we are going to find out as the pace car comes off a turn 4, dives to pit road. Green flag is out. Matt Lacrosse on the loud pedal side-by-side battle is going to ensue for position number 2 at the 97 at Nathan Little to the inside of the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. Door to door and door to door back in the pack as they battle all over these lead lap cars. It's a big fray of 6 cars. Put a blanket over them on the lead lap. But if not one of these guys can get clear, Matt Lacrosse can run away with this on 2 tires. And it is still side by side for second, side by side for fourth. And that time by Jose had the advantage over Nathan Little. Jose on the outside, 97 Little on the inside. Row behind them, 67 of Brian Harvey on the inside, 14 of Bobby Terrell on the outside. They're 2 wide, 2 rows deep, door to door. Still down the back. Now the 26 gets them cleared. Jose around the 97 of Nathan Little. Is it that front end damage that's holding him back? He gets clear of him, and it's side by side for third. 97 and Nathan Little on the inside. 14 gets clear as well. Bobby Terrell in sole control of third. And looks like the 24 of Marinac going to get around the 97 as well for fourth. As the 97 and Nathan Little may be hindered by that damage he suffered on pit road. Dropping back. Now side by side for second. Here comes Bobby. He says it's go time. He wants to get going. Terrell to second. Around on the inside of the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. Jose about right on the bumper for that matter of fact. A car length off of him is the 24. Marin is 8 tenths in front of Terrell. Matt Lacrosse. And Matt Lacrosse last time by slower, but only by half of a tenth of a second. Then Bobby Terrell, who sits second. He's going to need Terrell for the matter. He's going to need more than that if he wants to steal this thing. It's still tense that last time by. No, 4 of Marinac around Jose Gonzalez for the number 3 spot. Caught in trouble. And yellow flag gonna fly a spinner down the front stretch. And it's a car 7 lap down all by himself. The 47 of Luis Rodriguez spins at a turn 4. Down into the grass, had it sitting back up, spun on the front straight, nearly into traffic as the 2 of John Wilco. And this will set us up for something in the range of 6-7 lap shootout. And once again, just as it looked like Jose was going to get it, and just as it looked like Matt Lacrosse was going to get it, a caution, an untimely caution, as Lacrosse fakes pit road there. Nobody buys. Actually, 97 of Nathan Little, first car down, 6th on back. Going to come back in and get more tired. Just as it looked like both of those guys were going to get it in the number 1 spot. Bad cautions for them. Great one. Fans and everybody else fly. Wave around going to be the 11 of LT Serbia. And just like that, another shootout within 10 laps to go, which no matter how long green you run, no matter how many cautions, it always seems that we find one in the closing laps that group everybody up and make a go out of it, to say the least, and Matt Lacrosse is going to have to work for it if he wants to be able to sneak away with this win after starting in 12th. Bobby Terrell, the Bobby known for coming into these games late in the going and being able to pull away with them the last second. Started on pole, dropped back, and a late little charge there has brought him back up to second, the outside of row number 1. And it will be 10 cars on the lead lap after at one point there was only one. When Jose Gonzalez was trying his one-stop strategy, it worked for the most part, but lost time on pit road there as Lacrosse was able to get around it with a two-tire call, and then Jose drifted back to 4th in the ensuing battles. It was a great battle, about 6-7 cars. We're all duking it out there in 1 and 2 for those first about 3 laps coming off that restart that we saw not too long ago, and unable to protect his position, unable to advance his position as Lacrosse checked out because they were side by side for second for those about 3 laps or so. Now he sits 4th. Marinac in 3rd, championship points leader. We talked about the fact that after tonight only one race remains. That is race number 9 at Dover International Raceway with the Got Crabs 140. And again, I believe the ITSR officials said something about not letting Don name the races, or Jose, or somebody was naming these things. But anyways, that's what it's called. It's at Dover next week. And that's going to be the closing race. And entering tonight, Marinac, 14 points over Lacrosse. Lacrosse, 2 positions over Marinac. Both led laps. Matt Lacrosse, you have to throw out a bonus for leading the most laps. Don't think either of those guys will get it. Not too sure until it comes down to the end of it, because it's been a very interesting race. A lot of lead changes. But right now, Marinac is not doing what he came here to do. He came here to get the win and extend his lead, but he's still defending. Somewhere in the range of 12 points will be the gap going into the final race if it remains the way it is now. Who knows? The 21 may not make it to the checker. The 24 may not make it to the checker in one piece. Who knows? We're going to have to find out. But the lights are off on the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. The fans salute to the field as they double up, entering turns number 1. And we'll cycle through 2 down the back, 3 and 4, and then we'll get this thing rocking for a 6-lap shootout. And as always, have to mention the possibility that if another caution flies, got to give yourself 4 laps or so if you want to get another lap in. So if we don't see a caution in the first 2 laps, if it flies, it will most likely end this race, because no overtime, 125 laps, no more, no less, is the distance for this evening's race. And if a caution comes out within 3-4 to go and we don't get a chance to restart, the leader at the point of caution will be your race winner. Right now, Matt Lacrosse has the best opportunity because he's a control car. He can go from when a pace car hits pit road to when he gets outside of the restart box, nearly at the checkered flag, and the flagman has to throw the green nearly at that checkered stripe start-finish line. 21, Matt Lacrosse control car. Can somebody get clear for second to battle, or do we wad him up? Here we go. Pace car out of 4, maybe for the final time. Gonna dive down to the safety of pit road right there. Lacrosse waits on it. 1-2 bumps from the 24. Now he's going. The green flag flies, and it's going to be side by side for second. Just what Lacrosse wanted, as the 24 of Marinac, after restarting 3rd, challenges for the number 2 spot to the inside of Bobby Terrell. Can he get clear? Trying to get to the nose. Does not have enough momentum to slide up in front, but they are both within striking distance, side by side for 4th, but a handful of car lengths back is the 67 of Harvey on the inside of Jose. Nearly they get taken out together as both those cars make contact, but all eyes up front, and now one car wrecking in the back, Jay Horton in the inside wall, a huge wreck down the back straightaway, nails the inside wall, goes up, over, barrel rolls to the apron, and no caution. We've seen yellows for a car spinning in the grass, and we got cars barrel rolling in 3, but we're racing it out at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. But as they continue to battle for second, Matt Lacrosse is pulling away. And now Bobby Terrell clears the 24 of Marinak on the outside lane, but the damage has been done. It's .45 and nearly half a second between Lacrosse and Terrell. Caution ends the race from here on out. But now that they are single file for second on back, here comes Bobby, known for closing at late stages. Can he close it once again and steal this one from Lacrosse? He is closing about 6 car lengths out of turn number 4 and closing fast. A huge run by Terrell. He cuts 2/10 off of it, and it's a race with 3 laps to go. 14, half a car length off the bumper. Looks high, tries to get a run. The 24 of Marinak in the wings. 14, low, 21 Lacrosse with the block, 14 to the high side. Can't get it done, drops back single file for now, and a car length separate everybody inside the top 3 for the time being. 14 to the bottom, the 21 of Lacrosse blocked with a crossover. Marinak now trying to find a way around. 14 of Terrell blocked once again by Lacrosse at 2 to go. Still half a car length. Then caution, it's over. You're not going to get him racing it out as the 67 of Brian Harvey gets assisted around by the 97 of Nathan Little in 1 and 2. And what an intense final few laps. And it would have been a wicked finish, and you hate to see it end like that, but Matt Lacrosse sounding relieved, coming over the radio and saying he didn't know how much longer he'd be able to hold them off in that number 1 spot. But he did it for the lap that counted, which is going to be lap 124, and this time he's going down the backstretch. White flag is out at 125 as they close into the pace car, and nearly gets run over by Terrell as they both went in there rather hot. But a very fun night, a lot of green flag racing, a lot of hard racing, and what would have been a spectacular finish is cut short by the iRacing simulator's oh so consistent yellow flags. And it is going to be at a turn number 4 for the final time. Matt Lacrosse, the 21 car, is going to be able to sneak away. Didn't practice, had no laps in practice, didn't put down a time in qualifying, started 12th, sneaks up through the field, gets it, and your winner of the I Love Livermush 125, Matt Lacrosse in the 21. Second, going to belong to Bobby Terrell, Stefan Marinak. Third, Jose Gonzalez. Fourth, Ben Burnett. Fifth, Nathan Little. In sixth, LD Sarabia. Seventh, Stephen Herring, last car on the lead lap. In eighth, Ryan Harvey. Ninth and 10th, belonging to John Wilco. That's going to do it for the racing here, Matt Lacrosse. We're going to step away. When we come back, the post-race show, we're going to try to talk to the top 3 finishers and get you set for next week's segment finale where we get ready to crown a champion. You're watching the ITSR Twisted B Car Series live, as always, on Thursday nights here on MW Productions. Post-race show coming up from Charlotte next.
Hi, I'm Todd Malmstrom, driver of the 75M Ford Mustang GT. This is what I do by night. And this is what I do by day. I sell new Fords, and I've got the best selections of used inventory that you could ask for. Come see me down here at Central Ford.
Are you tired of getting hassled at the dealerships? Looking for a salesman that knows what he's talking about? Are you looking to buy a new or used car? Then look no further! Sexton Ford Moline, Illinois has the biggest selection of new or pre-owned vehicles, and Todd Malmstrom is the salesman you want. Todd is an expert when it comes to cars. And if you don't believe me, then you should see him race on a Sunday night. With his top-notch professional customer service and expertise, he will make sure you go home in the right car for the right price. No hassle, no haggling. Todd will make sure that you're happy when you leave the lot with your newer pre-owned vehicle. Remember, Sexton Ford may be the talk of the town, but so is Todd Malmstrom. If you're in the market for a new ride, then buy one from a winner. Todd Malmstrom at Sexton Ford Moline.
Back live at the Charlotte Motor Speedway after a race that included a lot of green flag racing and what would have shaped up to been a very exciting end of it all ends under the yellow flag, and we've caught up with our third place finisher Stefan Marinak in the number 24 car. Started second, led some laps, was unable to close it out because of the caution, but we got to ask you, walk us through from that final restart. Obviously you had a side-by-side battle with Bobby Terrell there. Once you guys got single file, you really closed in on him. Caution kind of stopped their progress. What do you guys think would have happened if this thing went green 1.5 more laps?
Man, that sucks. It would have been really exciting. I was planning on riding behind him until they both went too wide, and then I was just going to try to make something happen if they did that. But nevertheless, I mean, it was a good race. We had a long green flag run, and that would have been an exciting finish. That sucks.
Definitely would have been a fun one. You enter tonight as the championship leader by 14 points over Matt Lacrosse. He only gets you by 2 positions. You're going to have the lead going into next week at Dover to close it out. What are you thinking about your chances here at being able to lock up this points championship, and how comfortable are you at that track?
It should be pretty much in the bag. I gotta have a good race. I'm just gonna try to stay out of trouble, but I don't really know how the points are in this. I don't know if we're just going to continue after this segment ends and go for an overall championship, but I'm just going to try to keep out of the wrecks and, probably try to get a top 5.
Definitely will put on a show there, and again, it would have been fun to see you guys race that out, but good hard racing for sure, and a lot of green flag racing, which I'm sure you guys like to see, and it was very entertaining for us to see. Any shout outs and sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, Hippie's Paint Shop, Access Sanitary, Quick Car, ITSR, and you guys at MW Productions.
I definitely will. Congrats on your top 3 finish. I know you would have wanted more, but we'll be looking for you to lock that segment win up next week.
Thanks.
And then we go to our race winner, Matt Lacrosse, who was able to sneak away with this thing in the 21 with a 2-tire strategy call. Sees a caution after it looked like it was about yours. What were you thinking when that happened, and what was the game plan coming up for that final restart?
The game plan on that final restart was just to get as much distance between me and Bobby and Stefan and Jose and those guys as I could. And the 2 tires is what's won it for us. Got out front. I didn't have very many laps on the left sides when we came in for green flag pit stops, and that caution came out. The second to last caution, when that came out, I was a little bummed because I had a strategy going, and I was catching Stefan and Nathan, and they were catching Jose, so I know I was catching Jose, and I wish that would have played out, but yeah, the 2 tires what won it for us. I was just hoping for that right there, just caution, and hopefully I could stay out, man. When I saw Bobby come up to me and get right behind me, I threw a block on him a couple times, and with 2 laps to go, I was like, I don't know how much longer I can do this, and that's when the caution came out. I was like, whew, don't have to worry about that no more.
Hey, where'd you come over the radio and tell those guys, man, I don't know how much, like you said, that you were going to be able to hold them off for, but 100 laps, actually, I think it was 99. But 99 laps of green flag racing here, and a lot of strategy. Jose on a 1-stop strategy, everybody else on 2 stops. How are you thinking that would have came down if we didn't see those couple of yellows at the end, because it was looking like it would have been close? Where were you in all that mix?
Well, I was running 4th. Jose was way out front because he only made that 1 pit stop. He was up by like 14 seconds on me. And I had like 3 seconds between, I think Stefan and Nathan were 3 seconds ahead of me, and I was slowly catching them by like a couple tenths every couple laps. So, and they were catching Jose, they said, by a second a lap. So I think if that would have played out, it would have been really, really interesting. I was really trying to save my tires there and for that run because I knew if once your tires go away, man, they go away quick. So I just took the 2 tires there at the end and drove it for everything she had. So it was good. It would have been awesome. Win or lose, it would have been an awesome race for the fans if it wouldn't, or if the caution wouldn't have come out. So I mean, I'm glad to get the win, but man, just what might have been, that would have been an awesome race.
And definitely for sure, obviously knowing the championship picture entering tonight, 14 back, you're now the second driver in the top 10 to get a win, besides Stefan up at the top of the board, but you close it in by maybe 2-3 or so points. We don't know until all the bonus points are added, but going into Dover, it's going to be a pretty big feat to be able to knock that down. You've been chipping away. You only have one race to go. I guess all you can do is go up there and win it and hope for the best.
Yeah, it's M4. I like Dover. It's one of my favorite tracks. So, yeah, well, next week we'll give it a shot. Stefan's really good. He's always consistent, so he's gonna be a tough guy to top. But we'll do it our best. That's for sure.
Definitely. Well, obviously taking home the race win here this evening. Sponsors and shout out to everyone. I thank the mic's all yours.
Quick Car Racing Products, Hippies Paint Shop. You guys at MW Productions, you guys do a great job. Axo Sanitary Services. Oh, Frank Coons. Yeah, just glad to get the win and have a lot of fun.
That is your race winner, Matt Lacrosse, going to pick up race win number 1 and looking to try to steal this once again next week when we go to Dover. Congrats on a win and good luck next week.
Thank you, sir.
It is Matt Lacrosse again walking away with the win, and I believe we have Bobby Terrell with us as well, who comes home second. Bobby, get a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy of you, Evan.
Bobby coming home second, man, 1.5 more laps, and that would have been a hell of a finish. Walk us through that final restart. I know that you were in a side-by-side battle. You guys lost, about 8 tenths, closed back in, and that would have been one for the history books, but unfortunately cut short by the caution. Walk us through all that.
Yeah, I knew starting on the outside that it would probably be, hard. I knew Stefan was going to race me hard, and I figured what would happen is that, Matt would get out, and I was just trying to clear Stefan as soon as I can, and, then finally I got clear of him, and I was then, like I said, trying to run Matt down and just run out of time and the caution come out. But it was a fun race, man. I had a blast.
It looked exciting, and I'm sure a lot of people watching were looking forward to that finish, but it is get cut short, and you're known as, here comes Bobby. You tend to come into these things at the end and try to steal them and get away with them, and you started on pole, so we figured, hey, might as well just lead the whole race, make it easier on yourself. You couldn't do that. Drop back, and once again, fast at the end of the race, man. You had a rocket ship. You were able to get there, but just a little bit short. Walk us through the approach to this race. Obviously, Jose taking the one-stop strategy. Everybody else, including you, taking the two-stop strategy and that green flag run. What was your approach to this race?
Well, I have very little time with this new tire model, and I got on early to practice tonight just to see. Every race, you're learning something with it, and like I said, what I noticed during the race or during practice is the setup seemed to get pushy tight, pushy loose, and we actually have, the tires are wearing down, and I was trying to keep from that happen. I figured if I kept it a little loose that I would be okay, so I was kind of leaning on the right rear a lot, and boy, it bit me on that first run. I mean, that thing got so loose, it was unreal, and I was really surprised myself. And then the second run, I got a speeding on pit road because I just kind of slid into the pits, and then the second run I was very cautious and easy, the way I was driving it, and I wasn't really concerned. I just tried to keep it very neutral, and then, like I said, I didn't think about one stop. Jose pitted, and he probably would have made it and would have won the race. I think it would have been interesting to see how it played out for sure. And then I was catching up to fourth, third, and second, I think. So it would have been interesting if it had stayed green, how it would have played out.
And definitely, and it seems like always we get a string of these yellows at the end, and again, that would have been a wicked one, but still exciting. You're able to walk home a second place, able to build on that going into the segment finale next week at Dover. Sponsors and shout-outs, who you want to thank?
Muscle Milk, you guys in the booth, MW Productions, y'all do a great job. And Steve and CJ and the crew for putting this on.
And definitely, well, congratulations on the top 2 finish. I know you wanted more than that, and we'll see what we can do next week.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
That is Bobby Terrell. Going to walk away with second, but in the end, Matt Lacrosse steals it and steals the show at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, 125 laps, and he ends on top. We'll see you next Thursday night when we close this segment out at the Dover International Raceway once again for the Got Crabs 140. Such a very marketable name for sure. But until then, on behalf of our broadcast booth, and my name is Pasoko in the broadcast booth, and Michael Willey down there in the infield in the production hauler, pushing all the buttons, getting us on air as he does week in and week out. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week when we close this thing out at Dover.